He was a rodeo star and strongman who entered his first competitive swimming race in 1963 to show that a 50-year-old man could be as active as young fellows. It was a 60-mile professional marathon swim in frigid Lake Michigan. And while Walter Poenisch failed to finish, he was hooked on the sport. Like many Americans in the 1960s, Walter was troubled by the Cold War and the Cuban Missile Crisis that had brought the world to the brink of nuclear catastrophe. So it was that in August of 1963, he conceived the idea for his Swim for Peace, his newfound dream of bringing two obstinate foes together by swimming across the Florida Straits from Cuba to Florida. With optimism and confidence in his cause, he started writing letters to Fidel Castro, senators, congressmen, and the White House. For the next decade, he built up an impressive resume of feats and stunts that attracted the attention of the national media. Walter and his wife Fay set up winter training camps in Fort Lauderdale, where they were frequent guests at the Hall of Fame. In 1972, frustrated at not receiving the required permissions, Walter announced the Swim of the Century, a swim from just outside Cuban territory to Fort Lauderdale, a distance of 200 miles in a homemade shark cage. The swim ended when the cage was torn apart by sharks after swimming for 90 miles, but it was still a new long-distance record. In 1976, Walter swam into the Guinness Book of World Records with a swim of 122.5 miles from Key West to the tip of the Florida Peninsula. At the time, it was the world's longest ocean swim, and it was shortly after this swim that the visa was granted in March of 1978, 15 years after he first applied, and he and Fay immediately started planning for the swim to take place on July 11th, a date coinciding with Walter's 65th birthday. Walter and Fay arrived in Havana 3 days early and were welcomed as heroes with much fanfare. On the day of the swim, Cuban leader Fidel Castro was there to celebrate Walter's birthday and to wish him success on his Swim for Peace. Walter entered the water after Castro proposed a toast, honoring his efforts and his dream of peace between their two nations. 34 hours after leaving Cuba, Walter completed his dream, culminating on the shores of Little Duck Key, Florida. Walter Poenisch passed away on June 6, 2000, never having received the recognition due him for inspiring generations of swimmers and others to pursue their dreams with persistence, perseverance, and courage. Walter Poenisch, Honor Pioneer Open Water Swimmer, USA.